Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Brief. Today, we are absolutely thrilled and fortunate to have Kyle Lacy with us. Kyle, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Kyle is the Chief Marketing Officer, the Bhagwan of all things marketing at Docebo. Kyle, why don't you get us going here by telling us a bit about your background?
Well, we'll get into it. Chris and I talked about the name before we got on, and it's Docebo. So
Docebo.
we said,
See, I'm going to screw up Chris here. That's how
no,
bad
hey,
I am.
look, I told Chris that I mispronounced it, I think the first month of my job. So if the CMO was mispronouncing your name, the positive is that we've been around for a long time, so people know. But okay, I've also lost track of the first question you asked me, so I'm also trending pretty well right now.
This
But
is
what was
awesome. This is
just a
good.
little
Tell us,
bit, just a little bit about me?
yeah, give us your background. Where'd you start and what led up to now?
So I started, I was not a great student, barely graduated college. I had to go to a fifth year because my dad wouldn't pay for the fifth year and I had to get my GPA above a 2.0. So for those of you listening, it's okay. You can make it. Don't worry. So after barely graduated, graduating, I opened an agency in Indianapolis, Indiana, and my product was basically digital design, but also designing MySpace pages and Facebook accounts and LinkedIn and all that stuff. And so that's where I began my career, was basically talking about social, and social at the time. So this was 2007, 2008, was pretty much maybe not the extent of what we're experiencing now with the AI revolution, but it was close. People didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know how to use it. So we took advantage of that as an agency, ran the agency for 5 years. And when I ran it into the ground, which is a whole nother conversation, I was hired by a customer of mine called ExactTarget. And ExactTarget at the time, so this was 2012, large software company in Indianapolis, Indiana, where I live and I'm based, email marketing platform. I think I joined, I don't know, it's probably 1,500 to 1,000 employees. I'm pretty sure we hired 500 people the year I joined. So
Wow.
long story short, I joined there to speak at conferences. I then led the content marketing team. We went public. We were bought by Salesforce. I spent a year at Salesforce running global content marketing for the marketing cloud, and realized that it was too big for me. And so I went and worked for a VC firm called OpenView out of Boston, and OpenView invested in Series A and Series B companies at the time. And that led to my job at Lessonly, which was my first VP of marketing role at a software company. We, at the time, we were a Series A, about 3 million in ARR. And we grew that over 5 years, sold it for 300 million to a company called Seismic. Spent a year in the Seismic leadership team, and I've had one other stint since then, which is a company called Jellyfish. So long story short, it started with digital design and creative and brand, and it's kind of grown to be more focused on brand and revenue, right? Pipeline. And now I work for Docebo. We're a public company on the Canadian Stock Exchange and NASDAQ, and about 1,000 employees. And we focus on skills development, learning development for large companies. So how do you train your people to be their best and do their best work and do it at scale?
What a great journey, and I appreciate you being, like, straight about where you started. I know so many people that chased grades and, like, were so trapped at the library, for their entire.
I probably could have been done more of that. I'm not going to lie.
Well, there's everybody's gotta find their balance,
Right.
but that I love the fact that you owned it, and it has certainly not held you back. You've failed up fantastically, so keep up the good work there. Um, so I wanna go back.
I'm sorry. One more thing, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have 2 children and a beautiful wife, and I live in Indiana, and it's great.
No, I love that. And how old are your kids?
7 and 10, about to be 8 and 10. 2 boys.
Fantastic. That's awesome. That's a great time. Although as a parent, I've got 2 that are, one's in grad school and one's just out. We're weaning her off the payroll, which is like the biggest raise you'll understand this from the agency
Oh
world.
yeah.
Like that's the
Yep.
biggest raise I'll get in years,
Yep.
especially in this economy.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but I got to go back in time. You wrote a couple of books.
I did.
And so how do you think those are playing today? One is Twitter marketing for dummies. How would that play?
Well, I think we all know that the dummies guides in general are probably not working very well now. I mean, I can just go to AI and ask, right? So,
Right.
but it was the first book, and I got it because Wiley, who's the publisher of Dummies, it was based here in Indianapolis, and I met one of the editors, and she was like, "We need a writer for this." I said, "Yes," and that led to writing "Branding Yourself," which is, I think, in its fourth or fifth edition in four or five languages. Social CRM Dummies was the third one, and I should have never written it. But
Yeah.
the process and the opportunity was great. Like writing a book definitely gives you some credibility at the time.
Mhm.
And being let's see, I was probably 26 when I wrote it. Like it definitely helped me sell more because I had a book, right? And it helped me get the job at ExactTarget, which is why I'm here today. So no, none of them are relevant anymore. I'm gonna say one of them has to do with a fun fact that I'm gonna say for later, but, like,
Got it.
it's no, I mean, I can't imagine writing a dummy's guide now. I mean, for the speed at which this tech's evolving. Like, can you imagine an AI like a Claude for dummies right now? There's no way. You can
Oh
never
my
do it.
god. Yeah, well, even books, like, so I behind me, I've got all these wonderful books that, I actually read most of. Yeah.
Mine are
Uh,
down there.
yeah, and I literally reached out to, I like you, I imagine, I guest speak at a lot of, university programs and, which I enjoy, but I literally said to one of my professor friends, I said, "I've got all these books that I never even do anything with anymore, like, I don't know what to do with them. I'm moving soon, like, I'm not gonna move them."
Right.
And I'm like, "Do you want them?" And she's like, "No, no." Like, it's an artifact from, a just different era. If it's been printed with rare, like, I would say maybe David Ocker's, book on brand management might
Yeah.
be worth a good look, but, um,
Yeah, I still go back to breakthrough companies and which is actually the companies in themselves are that's not why I read it, it's just great stories, and Emotional Branding by Mark Gobe, which I'm probably butchering his last name, but that is a brilliant book. It was my first book I ever read on marketing, really, outside of maybe a Dan Kennedy book that my dad gave me on direct mail, and it's still relevant. It's
yeah.
still relevant today, even though the times have changed pretty dramatically since he wrote it.
Yeah, that's, it's funny how that's definitely changed. So, let's jump to where actually, before we jump to where you are now, I have to give you props. I pitched against Jellyfish a bunch of times. I don't think I ever won. Uh,
Oh, wait, wrong jellyfish, though. You guys
oh,
you can edit this and post edit. Are you
okay.
talking about the agency?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, this is a Series C company based in Boston. So
Okay,
software engineering, like, productivity.
okay.
So it's like, how do you manage Jira and
Got
stuff
it,
like that? So, no,
got it,
I had multiple people mistake me for the CMO of that agency, and it's not. This was a
got it.
Series C company in Boston.
Well, good. I can complain about them then,
You
and
can
it's a
complain about
totally
them. Yeah,
separate, different company.
yeah,
Got it, got it.
yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Awesome. All right, well, Docebo.
Yeah, you got it.
As
Good
a
job.
name, like, I'm not the only one that's bungled it, and I own it. What's the origin of it? What's it mean?
It's Italian, and it means to learn.
Nice.
So it's got we were start I'm gonna probably butcher the timeline here, but I think it was 17 or 18 years ago. I think they co-founded our co-founders started it. It was originally called Spaghetti Learning, and it turned into Docebo. And I'm sure that there were tons of times where they talked about renaming it, but they stuck to it. And now we're a leader in the market, so it's more of a joke now than anything else. And I would never think about changing it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the Italian culture still is pretty deep in the company.
That's awesome. That I love it when it's, like, lands that clearly. I mean, how many names do we have in the dot-com era and
A
post-dot-com
lot.
era where it's like, and now pharmaceuticals have made it even worse, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
a real challenge. So LMS, learning, like, tell us about your market. What, dimensionalize it. Give us who are you selling to, and what's that look like? What's the buying committee size and shape?
Oh, I mean, it's all over the place. I
Yeah,
mean, honestly, I can say that right now we're dealing with way more people in the buying committee than we have before.
yeah.
And I would say that as well, so who we target, um, learning and development, we target anyone that sits underneath the CLO, which is Chief Learning Officer for some, and that role has evolved and is evolving, right?
Mm.
We also target people on the HR side, talent development. We just purchased a company in France called 365 Talents that deals with skills intelligence and job architecture mapping and how do you connect skills intelligence to learning to get hyper personalized for every single person in a company.
Mm.
And then how do you connect those to the business outcome, right? I this is a very specific podcast, so I don't know if we want to get into that in particular, but for us, it's anyone on the people side and also CIO, CTO. I mean, I
Yep.
think that in the world of AI, where all this is evolving and people want to try things constantly and the landscape is evolving, the CIO and CTO are getting way more involved from a security standpoint. Like if we have AI tooling, like the CTO of an enterprise company pretty much wants to know who we're connected to and where the data is going and all that stuff, of course, which is normal. But for us, it's talent, people, and learning. It's kind of where we sit.
So the problem you're solving is helping people realize their potential, by creating a ecosystem where the organization can support that. Is that
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about from the learner all the way up to the administrator, the
yeah,
admin, right? Like,
yeah,
think about if you have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 employees,
yeah.
think about managing a skills architecture in a sheet.
Oof.
It's impossible. I think dumbing it down to one line, I believe that workforce planning, all these talent management systems that we have are wasting human potential in general.
Yeah,
I think the fact that we think about performance and skills development in a twice a year or a quarterly process is crazy. It should be automated, should be constant. I think that it's crazy that a people team do not fully understand all the skills that every single employee has so they can fit those people into open roles instead of going out and hiring a bunch of new people, which is way more expensive. And you can I think it's crazy that learning is not hyper personalized where you want to get it. If
yeah,
you learn on YouTube, fine. If you learn in an LMS, fine. If you're using Claude, fine. If you're using GPT, that's fine too.
yeah,
However, it needs to connect to your skill as a person so that the company fully understands where you're at. I mean, we call it skills currency because it really is a currency,
hmm,
but that's where we're focused. And I don't think the market is doing it well right now. And I think we are cheating the people that we manage because we're not doing it appropriately, in my opinion, of course.
yeah, yeah. Well, and you think about it, the way that people progress in their career is almost illogical on some level because
Right.
they're put in roles that they have to achieve competence in real time rather than be competent when they enter the role.
Right.
And I mean, and you could back up into the HR function in that they're often hiring on the wrong principles and in many cases using the wrong technologies to even find
Could be.
people,
Could be.
in some cases. Yeah.
Could be. I think for us, it's you've got the people in C. You need to fully understand the skills of the people in C, and you need to give them a path to evolve those skills based off of where the company's headed. And you need to be able to apply all of that to the bottom line.
Yeah.
Like you need to prove that it's valuable. It can't just be, hey, we hired 30 sales reps and 4 marketers and they all completed onboarding. Good job. We're going to move on.
Yeah. I'm always turned on by brands that are doing good in the world, and it doesn't seem like there's a downside. There's no enemy here other than complacency,
Yep.
maybe, but that you can't solve, right? That comes from within.
Yep.
Um, is there I mean, I guess there are some instances where you are rip and replace or, so there's somebody you're offsetting,
Mhm.
that that might be the downside, but generally speaking, you're a force for good, right? I mean
I mean, that's my opinion. We're definitely I think that I mean, look, at the bottom line, found at the foundation, learning specialists, people in learning, people in talent, people on the people team
Mm,
want to create things that help people do their best work. There's that like and so we believe that we have the system that helps them to helps best support that.
yeah,
And when people do that, they're happier in their role, they're happier in life. You are giving them a career path that's actually interesting and not some Google sheet that's been used 70,000 times with 50,000 different people. Like you're personalizing it to them. And that's the way it should be. We're to finally to the point where this stuff is usable and meaningful and you can do it at scale, which is amazing. I mean, just from a marketing perspective, think about it. Even an agency perspective.
yeah, yeah,
If I can look at that and know what every single person on my team is doing and where they need, maybe I have a product marketer that needs a little bit more work to learn Claude code. Maybe I have a designer that needs more support in Figma. Maybe I have like there's tons of different use cases for it. And it's so important that companies start focusing on that instead of just hiring, hiring, hiring.
yeah. So breaking it all down inside the platform and product,
Mhm.
where's the content come from? And because what you just talked about, I can just imagine how complex that looks. I mean, just the very notion of personalization
Yeah.
and
Well, you can create the content using our system,
yep,
and we've got AI to help with that. You can buy the content through a content marketplace, which
yep.
gives you access to tons of different ways, to tons of different types of content. Um, let's see, what did we say? We said create, you can buy, and then you can actually pull in pieces of content outside of it.
So you can license as
Or,
well.
well, you can license it, but you can also allow people to track where they had learning outside of the system. And that's where, we can't, that's where it's just an interesting play is like, hey, it's okay to go learn other places as long as you're keeping track of this stuff within your system of record. That
Right,
doesn't mean you're going and pulling content that you didn't buy. It means that the reality is that people are using YouTube and GPT to learn, and you should keep track of that because it helps you understand the skills of your workforce.
right. Um, Directly related to learning and success in organizations is culture.
Mhm.
How does your solution support culture? I mean, is there a dimension of it from a UX perspective and a implementation perspective and the way you guys, because I mean, there's asynchronous content platforms, LMSs that are just not good, right? And part of it
Mhm.
is because people are not they don't have good, academic, the pedagogy approach, the content design, it's, all those things, right? But how do you align with freeing the potential in people? Because there's that it goes back to that core issue of teach versus learn,
Mhm.
right? People have to wanna learn.
Well, you look, I if you give people content that they want to consume, they're gonna consume it.
Yep,
I mean, we all stream
yep,
shows. I mean, we probably spend way too much time on it.
yeah.
We all have personalized ads showing up to us via Facebook and Instagram and Snap and all of them. Actually, I don't know if Snap delivers ads. I'm assuming that they do, but TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Um, the same thing applies to learning.
Yeah,
Now, when you have a culture that where people aren't learning, it's because you aren't delivering learning that they need or want.
Right. Right.
right? So I don't, I think it's more about making sure that you have the right structure in place to understand what people need and doing everything that you can to deliver that in their moment of need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where, it could be a sales rep in Salesforce that's about to jump on a call and needs context to a competitor that they can automatically pull up within like a Chrome extension. It
Mhm.
could be that there's a part in a video that somebody liked and they want to tag it to remember it later. It could be the way you're personalizing onboarding for the 5 AEs you just hired. Like there's tons of different examples, but I think it's context and I think it's hyper personalization.
I love it. So, in one sense, what you do is very simple, and in another, it's super complex. As a marketer, how do you parse that, and where do you focus from a messaging perspective?
I mean, there's multiple different levels of messaging, which you can
Mhm.
probably, which everybody knows if you're listening to this. From a high level perspective, it's fairly simple. It's like never stop learning. The only competitive advantage you have as an individual is your ability to learn. We just
Yeah.
help you do that, right? Especially in the world of AI, where I think the only competitive advantage that companies have when everybody has the same technology is the people.
Mhm.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
a pretty simple. Now you get into product and features and pain points and ICPs, and
Mhm.
depending on if you're in UK or Germany or France or the US or Canada, like all that gets pretty technical and pretty deep.
Mhm.
But at a high level, it's, you're doubling down on your competitive advantage, which is your human beings. And
Yeah.
guess what? They're going to be even better with what we've got, the AI technology everybody has, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, in the education sector, universities are starting to realize that they need to continue to support enterprise. I mean, are they competitors, or are you able to work alongside them and basically create an outlet or a platform for their educators that have content that's valuable, and
Yeah,
to
we
go?
don't look, I mean, I'm not gonna speak to a specific use case, but if the content is needed for the customer, we can use it.
Yeah,
As long as the I can't speak to the legality of some of that stuff, but
sure.
yeah, I mean, we don't, we don't discriminate on content types. I guess that's the best way to say it, and if a university wants to partner, if a nonprofit wants to partner, if we're not competing with them. We are helping manage the process.
And so, okay, let's so you've talked about the messaging, talked about the ICP or the kind of buying committees, the you know, on a full funnel basis, what's the average kind of sales cycle look like for you guys? Is it a 3-month window from okay, we got to do something? Is it what's that look like, or does it just vary so
It
dramatically?
varies. I mean, we're segmented from mid-market to enterprise to government. I mean, it can range anywhere from 90 days to 6 months. It
Yeah,
just depends on it depends on the person and it depends on the company we're trying to sell in the segment,
yeah.
but yeah, it just differs.
So beyond the brief, our the kind of centerpiece of that is we all write these things called briefs or marketing plans or whatever. We
Yeah.
do our best to nail it and inspire the team when they get into the work. Inevitably, though, we get into the work and we're like, "Oh, that's not really that good." What else could we do? Where do you have any examples of where you've, like, been into something and stumbled across something or something came out of, ideas on the rise in culture or customer feedback loop or whatever that was like an insight that was like, "Oh, there it is."
In terms of the creative brief,
The strategy that then went into the creative brief or project brief, because it could be a marketing or marketing adjacent action that was affected by it.
I mean, I kind of mentioned this earlier on, our tagline for the year is never stop learning. And when we were going through our brand overhaul, where we were freshening up the look and feel and the messaging and the website and a lot of stuff that was kind of stuck in 2010.
Mm,
Um, we came like it hit us, I'd say probably 1 or 2 months into the major project, which was everyone is talking about the system and the company and the admin, and nobody is really talking about the learner.
mm,
And it was almost it was almost like I remember sitting with our VP of product marketing, Ben Battaglia, and a couple other people, and it was like, it's the story is the learner.
mhm,
The story is the learner. And it amazes me. It's actually saying it out loud, it's odd because it's almost like, of course it's about the learner. Like, it's you're building systems to help people learn and personal, but that's not where the market was headed
right.
for the past like five years, maybe. It was all so that was for me, that was an unlock. It was like learning, great, practicing, great. That makes sense to me. I've been talking about that for a long time. Let's roll with it. Let's put it on the learner. The stories are so much deeper and better when you're talking about all the learning that happens in your day to day. Think about going to Starbucks
Mm,
and getting your cup of coffee. How much learning happens with that person before they get to make that cup of coffee? And then you walk out the door and you have somebody cleaning a window, or you walk into the post office, or you walk into, like, think about the bartender. Think about the
yeah,
waitress at your restaurant. Think about the work that you're doing on a day to day. Every single thing, if you're doing it right, has a learning component.
yeah, yeah.
And it's built within our life. And, we spend years learning as kids and practicing as kids.
Mhm,
And then we get in the workforce and everybody looks at each other like, what happened to all that?
yeah,
You know? I mean,
yeah,
it's amazing to me.
yeah.
So that was the unlock.
No, that's great. I love that. I worked on a advocacy campaign for an election cycle around a issue of the basically the state supporting pre-K education for all. And I remember the general campaign idea was learning happens everywhere.
Mhm.
And when you think of it through kids, it's a lot easier to, like, dimensionalize that because it's shapes and sounds and really like, like, fundamental things. And yet, what you've just said is absolutely true. I mean, honestly, my wife can attest to this. I'm learning everywhere because 'cause I'm always looking and paying attention, trying to imagine what's happening there and trying to
Right.
put the math together on what just happened and why does that car sound funny? Is it a valve? Is it is it electric and they've got a sound
You're way
generator?
more astute than I am. But yeah,
What
that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, but
That's
I
good.
think, to your point, what about, finishing your formal education. Why shouldn't we? I mean, honestly, we're constantly learning, right? If we're doing it right,
Mhm.
and calling it what it is unlocks it for each of us, and, I think that's
In
super
different
interesting.
ways, but I would say where the inspiration used to religiously track nonprofit advertising, especially things coming out of the ad council,
Mhm.
because they are so good at humanizing advertising.
Yeah.
And so following that, keeping up on that, well, I loved it. In college, I was doing it. And then I watched this definitely is completely different than what I just said, but there's a commercial from Dow Chemical, so bear with me here, where it's about the human element. So it's like they talk about the periodic table and how the most important element is the human element. I have, whether or not Dow Chemical actually thinks about that is not something that I can speak to, but you can all make your case. But um, I remember it to this day, and I always go back to it because it was so good and how they approached the script and the copy and the visual elements, and it just stuck with you. And I have multiple examples of those where I think that I've been trying to chase that ever since, for the past 20 years,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
idea. And because it's why we do business.
Well, it's funny because as a marketer, one of the things we think a lot about is what's all the sensorial information we can
Mm,
provide context to. Because I mean, now there's sonic branding, and I mean, people talk about these things more than they used to, I think, in some ways, but yet some of the greatest campaigns ever didn't rely on over information. They just served a very specific context that was a simple human truth.
yep. Well,
And that,
do you remember the University of Phoenix? We Rise Up.
yeah, yeah,
Good God.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
I
I
will
mean,
take that. I looked at that for our campaign. I mean, they don't even do it anymore.
yeah.
I still reference those ads as great copy, great visuals. The mom doing all the day to day and then studying at night, and that she rises up. You're like, hell yeah, I'm there. I'm here. I'm here for it. I might never attend, but I'm here for it. It's great.
Yeah. I, there's lots of great examples like that. One I remember very fondly is GE's "We Bring Good Things to Life."
Yes.
Um, I mean,
Yes.
you could be making aircraft engines or light bulbs,
Yep.
and both are true. Like, absolutely lands spot on.
Yep.
It's so good when it hits like that. Um, well, and it really has to be human first, right? It's not, I mean, you're not in the speeds and feeds business, and yet you have a platform that's technologically very advanced, has AI and all these other things, but it's really about that human impact.
I don't
And
know. I would argue that we're kind of all in the speeds and the feeds world,
yeah,
but
well, we certainly
we're
exist in it.
competing with it.
Yeah, but if you start the conversation there, one of the things we often use as a way of explaining it is, as a brand, you can't walk in a room unknown to people that don't know you and say, uh, ingest any learning assets you could ever want in any form or faction, and it will make it available to all your customers. No, they'd be like, "Who is this guy, and why am I talking to him?" Like,
Yeah.
next, or
Yeah.
even more, buy one get one. Like, if you
Right.
start at buy one get one, you are so not going to be a part of the conversation.
Right.
Everybody's going to scatter like mice.
I think to distill it down, the only thing, the only thing that makes marketing relevant or marketers relevant is the experience the prospect or customer has with the brand. And it's either a good experience or a bad experience. And that's it.
Yeah. And people buy people that have great products and services, in that order. They may go seeking the product, but if they can't, because there's always going to be somebody in
Yeah.
the way, some
Well,
human.
I think Sam Altman said, we're in the world of fast fashion software.
Mm,
So in my world, there are plenty of different places you could go to get something, but you're right. The service and the people still, I'm not going to say that's going to be the case a decade from now, but it still matters for sure.
yeah, yeah, right. So you've had an amazing journey, and you've only just begun. You're only like 24 years old, so I mean, you're killing it.
I am younger than when I wrote a book in 2012.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Um, um, are there any, um, I imagine there are, but are there any people along your journey that you want to give a shout out to for the great advice they gave you?
Oh, good Lord. Um, Yeah, I mean, oh geez. I mean, there's tons. I would say I already mentioned Mark Gobe. I have never talked to the guy. I'm not even sure if the guy's still alive.
Mm.
I don't even know if it's a guy. I have no idea. But his or her book was instrumental in my upbringing as a marketer.
Wow.
I had a boss at ExactTarget, Jeff Roars, who I still talk to today, who saved me from being fired probably 4 times at that company. Uh, he a brilliant human being, the CMO ExactTarget, Tim Kopp, brilliant human being, gave me a bunch of advice. My boss at ExactTarget after Jeff was Daniel and Candela, another great guy. Ruth Zive is now the CMO of a company called Voices. I met her when she was CMO at ADA. I look to her pretty much anytime I have a problem. Allison Monroe, who's the CMO at Vena. Joe Staples was a CMO, now retired, teaches in Salt Lake City. Brilliant human being, one of the best people in the world when it comes to grounding yourself in values. I strive to be like him as much as I possibly can. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my own father, of course. Dan Lacy, who is a financial consultant and has been for a long time. So basically, CFO for service companies like plumbing and heating, bunch of different things. But he was my first like intro into marketing. Like I remember printing and doing mail merges on thousands of direct mail cards for him and reading the Dan Kennedy books and trying to figure out what people would pick up and read and doing oversized mailing and doing undersized mailing and all the stuff
Love
that
that.
we used to do and I still do a lot of direct mail today. Like
Yeah,
I think it's a huge value add. And then now the CEO at Docebo, Alessio Artufo, I learn from him every single day.
nice.
So that was a haphazard way of doing that, but there's been
No,
a lot of I'm very lucky. There's been a lot of people.
I give you credit for having so many that you can easily shout out, because I think so many people lose track of that, and I think as a I know I have tons and, including my parents and, so many hundreds and hundreds of people along the way, and I could do the same thing as you did, and listing them, and one I could spend a half an hour just top of mind because it's
Yeah.
like it's,
But you saw I think the difference is not the difference between you and me, but a difference with people in general is that I sought it.
yeah.
I wanted it. I asked for it. My father took me to a networking event when I was in high school.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He took me
Yeah.
to a disc conference when I was in high school.
Amazing,
So a lot of
amazing.
this was learned, but I am always seeking it because I believe that your ability to build a community around you is a differentiator.
To 100%, 100%. So for Docebo, what's coming up? Is there any news you wanna make sure that folks know that's, coming around the bend?
Yeah, I mean, we're a public company, so you can go read our Q4 earnings report, which came out I don't know when this is going to publish, but it came out at the end of February. So you can go
Okay.
read that. I can't make any forward-looking statements, of course, but go check out. We've got a conference coming up in April called Inspire. So it's in Miami, and of course we have a ton of content. We talk about it constantly. You could always check me out. I spend probably too much time on LinkedIn than I should. So if you ever want to come hang out, that's the place I do it.
I love it. I love it. Kyle, I know that you've got a little known fact that you're dying to share with us. Our listeners are always curious. I mean, you've shared a lot. One of the things I love about you is you absolutely bring it, and it's like there's no doubt this is not a prepackaged, like
No,
sanitized.
there's not.
You know, this is the unvarnished Kyle. We're getting the real deal.
I probably should spend more time working on talk tracks, but for me, it's I know what I like and I know what I've done and I know where I'm going. So it's just really easy to talk about. But my fun fact is that we talked about my books
Yep.
and I still make a little money on the personal branding book, Branding Yourself,
Nice.
because there is some school in Seoul, South Korea that still buys a box of these books every year. I don't know who it is. They've been doing it for years. It's in Korean. So, but I get like this small check every year and I know that it's from this group in Seoul, South Korea.
That is amazing. I love that. I love that. And it's on the 4th edition or something like that too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think the guy I wrote the book with, I think they just came out with a fifth maybe
oh, that's
with another
amazing.
writer, but it's Eric Decker's great writer by the way if you wanted to check him out. But yeah,
Well,
that's my fun fact.
brands are, and personal branding is important, and I imagine that's a good portion of what you do on LinkedIn and
Well,
other places.
if you do it well, and I tell my team this too, if you do good work and you know how to network and build a community, you should never have to use your resume to get a job.
That's right. That's right.
That's my
Yeah.
promise to people joining my team, and that's what I promise people when they start trying to figure out how to brand themselves appropriately online or even at home, like in real IRL, for those of you back in
Right.
the day.
Right, right. Exactly. Well, Kyle, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you for all you've shared. I know our listeners, we're going to have you back. I have only about 19 things I've written down that we could have gone off and wandered around talking about. So,
Maybe we can go deep on one.
yeah,
Going deep will
exactly.
probably help me prepare.
Exactly. I like it. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for the time, and for the listeners, Docebo is the place to go to learn. These few people know how to turn you on and turn you up. And if you're not getting that from your company, check them out. Kyle, thanks again. And with that, we will conclude another episode of Beyond the Brief. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us for a while.
Thank you.